Hello and welcome to Scrub Lifestyle. Today we're going to talk about the disadvantages of studying in Russia. Let's get into the video. The language barrier. If you're coming to Russia to study, I would advise you to learn the Russian language. You don't have to do it when you're still in your home country, but just know that when you're coming here, you have to sooner or later learn the language. This is obviously my opinion, and I know some people do not agree with this opinion, but especially if you're studying medicine, you should do it in Russian. Because think about it, right? In medicine, you have to talk to patients. You will not get any patient that speaks in English. Maybe once in a blue moon, you get someone that will say something in English. But for you to fully understand what the patient needs from you, you need to speak Russian. Just think about this situation. You want to take blood from a patient. You're speaking in English. They obviously don't understand what you're saying, and the patients will obviously become skeptical, right? They would rather have a Russian or someone that speaks Russian take their blood instead of you. If you are planning to work here in Russia, then you should obviously know the language. Of course, you can get work without the knowledge of the Russian language, but you just increase your job opportunities by knowing the Russian language. If you're going to come here to study, please do your best to study the language. You will have much easier time at work, at school, and you will experience the culture in you get a more immersive experience when you know the language here, right? And you can stand up for yourself, because trust me, there are some times that you will need to stand up for yourself. And if you cannot speak the language, how are you going to do that? But if you speak the language and people around can see and they know that you are confident with the language, then you can obviously stand up for yourself and make sure that no one is doing any discrimination towards you. So I would advise to learn the Russian language. This one actually makes me sad. Unlike many countries, if you do choose to study medicine in Russia, you will have classes on a Saturday. I did not know this when I came here, and it's terrible because you do not have time to rest. You come from class on Saturday, and on Sunday you are supposed to be preparing for the next lesson that's on Monday. So you basically do not have any time to rest. That's one of the disadvantages of studying in Russia. Another disadvantage that is directly linked to having classes on Saturdays and not resting at all is you only get 1 month summer break. Yes, that's right. 1 month. You will obviously get the usual calendar holidays like Independence Day, New Year's, but most of the time you are going to be studying. The weather here in Russia is so extreme. It's cold. It gets really, really cold, especially if your university is located further north of Russia. Trust me, you will feel cold the greater part of the year. I obviously knew that Russia has snow and it's cold. So when I came here, I bought jackets, like big, heavy jackets from my home country. And I wouldn't advise you to do any of that anyway, because those jackets that you have that you think are heavy duty, well, they are not. They are not heavy duty. I ended up buying a new jacket here in Russia because the one that I bought was basically useless. It was useless. I was walking around and feeling cold in my heavy duty jacket. I wouldn't advise you to waste your money and buy a jacket at home. Just buy a jacket when you get settled in here in Russia. And this one is a pretty juicy challenge that you will have to face. And trust me, you will face this challenge, and it's skepticism from patients. Most patients, especially if you live in small cities, most patients have never seen a black person. And when you come in with a white coat and say you want to take blood from their veins, they will look at you with a side eye and they're like, no, no, you are not going to do that. So you should be confident. That is one of the reasons why I said you have to study the Russian language, because at least if you come in and you're confident, you have composure, and they look at you with those side eyes, but you're confidently telling them that I have to take bloods, experienced, la 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 la, they will trust you at the end of the day, which is one of the skills that doctors have to have. Some patients might outright refuse for you to do anything or to talk to them or to take bloods, and just stay composed and tell your supervisor that the patient does not want me to do this and that. The supervisor might talk to the patient and they might end up agreeing, or they will just find another patient for you. Trust me, there are a lot of patients that would be happy for you to take history, examine them, and take bloods from them, just for them to go and brag about it that, oh, today a black doctor or a black student examined me. It's not something to worry about, right? There are different kinds of people in the world, and you have to know this as a doctor. It's part of our work. Another disadvantage is, at the moment, there is some political uncertainty in the country due to the war and stuff like that. And you never know, right? Maybe in 5 years' time, degrees here from Russia will be absolute and you can only use them here in Russia. So that's something you also have to look into. I know it's difficult to predict the future, but it's something that you have to consider when coming here to Russia. At the moment, though, many universities are accepted worldwide. You can check that on the internet if your university is accepted worldwide or not. That is something that you'd actually definitely have to do before you come here. I didn't do this because no one told me that I had to do it. But luckily, the university that I studied actually is in the directory of medical universities, which is a very big plus, which means you can later move to countries like Canada, America, the UK, anywhere you want, and the degree will be accepted. So make sure you look into that directory, and you also consider that this political climate and the sanctions that are being imposed on this country might affect your medical degree later. That's something to consider. Okay, guys, we have come to the end of our video today. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to the channel and on your notifications, and see you in the next video.